Hi, how are you? I've graduated out of boot camp, and I had a choice of going on leave or going to signal school, which was a communication school where I would learn Morse code. And they were starting a brand new class right away, so I could not go home if I wanted this class. And I decided that I wanted this class. In this class, they train you Morse code so that you can be out in the field and decode messages, whatever, or send them out on the Morse code equipment, and also how to be a telephone operator. And you remember the boards, and you would plug the phones in? Well, I was trained in that. So, multiple phone calls, you'd put your things on, and you'd plug all these different phones in. And so I had 6 months worth of training. So altogether, it was, I think, close to 9 months before I ever got back to San Francisco. And I flew back to San Francisco to see my friends and have my 2 week leave. And unfortunately, while I was there, and the Army did have my address, I really don't know why they changed my orders, but I got orders to be posted in Maryland, at a base in Maryland, for Morse code. And somehow, some way, they changed my orders to Fort Ord, California, while I was on leave, and I was never notified. So I decided I wasn't going to, I didn't have the money to take just regular airlines. So I went to Travis Air Force Base, which is where I'm pretty close to right now, 50 years later. I went to Travis Air Force Base, and I took a cargo plane, which you bump a ride on a cargo plane back to Maryland. And it was a great ride, but you had these like metal chairs. I want to say metal chairs. I know you were sitting with the cargo in front of you. It was huge, huge plane. I was the only female there. All of the rest were guys. I felt really strange, so I never used the restroom. And there was one, and it was, I didn't get up from my chair. And it was funny because one of the pilots came back, and I know the guys did not like it, but he said to me, he said, "Are you interested in looking at the cockpit?" And I said, "I certainly am." And so I went up to the cockpit, and they said, "You want to sit down?" And I, sure, I sat. It was fascinating. It was fascinating sitting in the cockpit with the pilot, and he had, I call it steering wheel. I know nothing about planes, okay? It was an adventure of a lifetime. And he said, "Do you want to feel? So put your hands on the, I forget what he calls it. I'm going to call it a steering wheel. Put your hands on that and feel the plane." And he kind of let go, and oh my goodness, it was very heavy. And he said, "Do you want to fly it for a minute?" And I go, "No, I don't think so. No, no, because by then I'm scared, and I'm shaking, and I'm like, no, let me just sit here. I don't really want to fly the huge cargo plane." I think it was a DC-4. I can't, DC-4? Some of you might know those big old cargo planes. It was huge. Anyway, it was fascinating to feel the plane itself all by how heavy the wheel was. And it was stiff, all these gadgets and panels in front of you. So I was only up there maybe 5 minutes. I got really scared because I wanted them to fly the plane. Okay, I wanted to get there, and I really wasn't that interested. It was very sweet of them to bring me up, but I wasn't interested. I wanted to go to the back. So I was very gracious, and I said thank you very much. And I went to the back, and that I flew a DC-4, whatever, cargo plane for less than 2 seconds, trust me. But it was fascinating to see the inside of a cockpit. It really was. And it was interesting to feel the plane. holding the wheel and feeling the weight and the how heavy. I just I remember feeling, boy, this plane is so heavy. You can feel it. Very stiff, the wheel's very stiff. Um, I was too scared. Too scared. No, 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 no. You don't want me flying a plane. I'm too scared. So it was a very enjoyable trip. And I got to Maryland, and guess what? They had changed me to Fort Ord, California. So I was there one day, and then I got back on a cargo plane that they had going back to Fort Ord with all kinds of military people on there again. This time I didn't fly it, and I didn't go to the cockpit. Uh, we had very few people going to Maryland, but it was loaded going back. So all the seats were full. And again, there was not another female. So crazy. And I went back, and I was stationed in Fort Ord for the rest of my tour, which was very interesting. And I'll tell you about that, about how I got to Fort Ord and how scary that was. So I'll talk to you next time. You have a great day. Thanks for watching. Camel.